Hello, my name is Doug Sanders, professional golfer, and I'm trying to reach Randy Weekly. If I have the right number, please have him to call. Doug Sanders. Thank you very much. Bye.
Morning dew on the rolling green, clubs in the bag, I've got a dream. From one small town to the next tee box, a life on the road, chasing drives and shots. Fairways and highways.
There you go. Anyway, we want to welcome, not taking any time at all, but coming live from the Ryder Cup for the next 10, 12 days, maybe next 2.5 years, lifetime. Well, he's an all-star in everybody's mind. If I get the phone turned off here, somebody's looking for me. Forget it. Not a good time. Phones are going crazy. Anyway, Art Stricklin, coming from Texas, president of Texas Golf Writers Association, many times author, great books, but he is going to be going to this little event, the Ryder Cup. Art, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, looking forward to it. Me and 50,000 of my rowdy friends will be at Bethpage all next week. And I have a feeling there'll be a few adult beverages consumed.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens. But, anytime players play, not for money, but for pride and for country and front of all their friends, the pucker factor is a little bit higher, because it's one thing to say I had a bad week and I'm going to shake it off and I'll be back next week. But when you've only got this chance once every 2 years and the whole golfing world is watching and you're playing in front of your family, friends, President Trump obviously will be there on Friday. So it's going to be interesting to be sure.
Hey, Art, I'll tell you what, Brad Faxon was talking about, you talk about pucker factor. He was talking about, he was playing and he had he wasn't supposed to hit the first tee ball on the first day. I'm going to let unnamed go, his partner, anybody could look it up. But when they got to the first tee, his partner looked at him and says, I can't hit the shot. I can't hit it. You got to do it. True story.
Yeah.
Look it up. Can you imagine ever having to walk that walk and those friendly confines of the first tee of the Ryder Cup next Friday? Oh my goodness. They'll be handing out Valium to those guys. I don't know how they're gonna do it.
JJ Henry, my fellow Texan, told me a funny story. He played in the Ryder Cup in Ireland at the K Club. And it's his first year, turned out to be his only year, but his first year, and he's on the team and he's walking down the path. And this guy comes within 3 feet of his face and starts screaming at him. Said, "We're gonna kick your butt. We're gonna do your." And said JJ Henry said scared him to death. He thought it was at a college football game. And so it's a definite different atmosphere. What the guys will see next week than what they'll see any other time, really in their career other than Ryder Cup. Not the President's Cup doesn't come near this kind of passion, but
No.
it's going to be interesting for sure.
Now you're going to be on the grounds next week, right?
I'll be live and actually be doing a live daily podcast for the great network that we have here in the YouTube. And so, as they say, be coming to you live.
And it will be coming to them live because we got the Golfers Golf and Travel, our new show. It's a condensation, or however, that's the wrong word. It's an accumulation of past history.
Thank you.
Many years. But turns out that we're on 38 platforms now. You can see us on Vimeo, Zoom, 17 different Facebook pages. But if anybody really, the easiest place to go get these is if you want to see the shorts, we call them, go to YouTube, go to Live Eco Style, Golfers Golf and Travel. They'll be right there. They'll be on our Golfers Golf and Travel Facebook page and links everywhere. You can't miss it, and sign up for it. And all you have to do is just go and, but we literally have had in the past 90 days, people anticipating what we're going to do, over 2.5 million views of promoting the great, the one, the only, the guru, the dusty one, Art Stricklin, coming to us live from the Ryder Cup next week. I am so excited. I haven't slept in a week already, Art. I mean, it's amazing. The Art of Golf travel. Hey, did you had some travels the past week up in my area? You
I
know?
did. We were in Sand Valley,
Yeah.
Sand Valley, Wisconsin. Great, great course. And the thing that makes Sand Valley great, and for people who don't know, it is the same group that did Bandon Dunes also did Sand Valley. So same group, same people, and courses are all different. We started at Mammoth Dunes, which is wide open and rolling and rocking, and anything can happen. Then we went over to Sand Valley, the original course. Went to Tom Doak's Sedge course. We did the short course, the sandbox, and finished up with the Lido, which is the ultra private course that they would use my contacts to get our guys on. So the Art of Golf Travel had a great trip. And as we like to say, where do you want to go next? Well,
Yeah.
just join us on our next adventure.
Well, I know you got, just give us a brief description of next year, because you can go to the Art of Golf Travel. It's going to be his schedule. Again, go to Golfers Golf and Travel. Weird that we're sponsoring travel by the Art of Golf Travel. Everything, all the highlights you see from his trips will be right there. But next year, going to the Masters. Now, wait a minute. Pimento sandwiches at Bethpage are going to be what, $1.50, $2?
Yeah, right. You may have already seen this, Randy, but you know what they're charging for beers next week at Bethpage?
I can't. I'm going to ask you a question. $18?
You were correct, sir. 18 bucks
Is that
for
right?
a beer at Bethpage. No. But no, to go back to 2026, what we're going to do, we've got a great trip, first time trip. We're going down to Reynolds. They used to call it Reynolds Plantation between Atlanta and Augusta. Now I think it's called Reynolds Lake Oconee. But
Right.
really
Right.
great spot. Five courts. We're staying in cabins there, playing golf. Incredible. And then obviously, as you say, we're going to the Masters. We always do that every year. And then we're making our first ever trip to Canada. We're going up to the Great Cabot Links, which is the hottest new resort in North America. We're going to Cabot Links up in Nova Scotia.
Beautiful.
We're going to go to Fox Harbor, and then we're going over to Prince Edward Island, Links at Crowbrush Cove. So great trip all the way around. It's going to be fun, and then we've got a couple more trips. Going to go to northern Michigan, up your neck of the woods, up at Boyne and all that kind of good stuff. So, as you said, complete details are at www.theartofgolftravel.com.
Yeah, like right here at the bottom of the screen, you can go right there. Anyway, I just got back from a trip up to Door County, and
Yeah,
good
great.
friends up in there. And anywhere, people don't realize how beautiful the golf is up in Michigan, northern Wisconsin. I mean, it is the finest. It's the best growing season. Art just came back from the heart of literally the center of Wisconsin. If you threw a dart, that's where Sand Valley is, about maybe an hour and a half north of Madison. But I'm looking forward to it. I hope to be with Art down at the Masters, because they do have $1.50 pimento sandwiches.
Yeah, a buck and a half. I think the drinks are $1.
Well,
Moon pie 75 cents.
let's tell people about. There's no tickets available, but people that don't know what people had to pay to get into the Ryder Cup this year. Are you familiar with that ticketing? What they were doing with that?
Well, yeah, the face value was $750 a day.
Yeah.
But it's going way past that into the four-figure range. But I really think, Randy, and you tell me if you agree with this, but I really think it's become the second most popular event in golf. I think Masters is still number one for the history and tradition and how hard it is to get a ticket for the Masters. I think that's always going to be number one. But number two, I think is the Ryder Cup. I think that's surpassed anything else.
Well, yeah, that was a question I was going to ask you. Actually, I agree with you completely. I don't know how anybody gets past the Masters every year. That is just the perfection of golf and what they're doing to expand the game appropriately. But the Ryder Cup. But then I was going to ask you a question on the scope of all sports. That means the Super Bowl, the World Series, the soccer finals, F1 races, finals in tennis, and all those things. Ryder Cup experience, where would you put that in Super Bowl, the big things that happen?
Yeah, I think definitely top 10. I mean, easily the passion is off the chart. I think, and I've said this before, Randy, everything that would get you booted out of the Masters in about 15 seconds is allowed at the Ryder Cup. I mean, whether it's shouting, you the man, mashed potatoes, get in
Yeah.
the hole, taking 50 cell phone photos, yelling in someone's backswing, all that is permitted and
Yeah.
actually encouraged at the Ryder Cup. So it's going to be fun. I mean, New York fans, as you know, don't mind sharing their opinions. And also, as people have said, if the United States gets off to a poor start, which
Oh,
they've done in the last few Ryder Cups,
yeah.
there's no doubt that the fans will let them know they're off to a poor start. And
Yeah.
you would hear some of boo birds out there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a unique atmosphere, and I think that's what causes the drama. This is the strongest. Talking to a friend of mine from Ireland this morning, this is the strongest European team we've seen, and maybe ever to come to
Yeah.
America. To come to America,
Oh,
and
I think, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
and so great team. Obviously we've got some players. We've got the number one player in the world, Scotty Scheffler, and oh, by the way, he won again last week.
Yeah, weird how that
So
happened.
we've got him, got Bryson, which is the destroyer of all worlds, and then, but it always comes down to putts. It always comes down to clutch play, and that's what um, I'd be interested to see what happens. I don't think there's a clear winner. I was listening on the Golf Channel the other day, said of the last home Ryder Cups, the average margin of victory for the winning team, either the Europeans over in Europe or the Americans over America, it's been 6 points. It's been a
Wow.
blowout either way. Either
Yeah.
blowout in Rome and Paris, blowout at Kohler, at Valhalla. So I don't see a blowout this year. I really don't. I'm thinking we're blowout free, but it's going to be very interesting for sure.
Well, it would be nice if it came down to the last putt, Bernhard Langer.
Still got
I,
naghtmares over that.
I heard that they only have 40 pictures of that up in down at up in Clubhouse.
Yeah, he still got
Yes.
nightmares, but
He's
that is part of the lore. That is
yeah.
part of the legend there.
So back in the day, and you might be old enough to remember this, Jack Nicklaus picked up Tony Jacklin's coin with about a 3-foot putt. Do you know
Right.
the history behind that? Because the ethic of the Ryder Cup might have changed since then up until now. Can you tell that brief story to people?
Well, sure. United States, back before they added the rest of Europe, used to be United States versus UK. That was the only participants. And it was a route every year for the United States. Jackie Burke told me when the Ryder Cup was at Champions, he just left the gate open, begged people to come in because it was such a route and no one went. So, but Nicholas Point Jack, when the United States had a 1 point lead, and so, as most people know, a tie remains with a tie. The cup remains with people who won it last year. So, for example, if it's a tie this year, Europe retains the
Right.
cup since they won in Rome 2 years ago.
Right.
So, and Jacqueline had a 3-foot putt to beat Nicholas, which would have tied the match
Right.
and would have given the United States a trophy because they had won 2 years previous. Nicholas picked up the coin and gave it to Jacqueline, and his famous saying was, "I knew you would not miss this putt, but I would never give you the opportunity to do it because that would have been crushing for you and your country."
Right.
And so a true man of sportsmanship goes down as one of the few singles matches that Jack ever lost to Jacqueline. The match was tied. The United States retained the cup, but Jacqueline maintained a large gained face in Europe for beating the great Jack Nicklaus and for Jack picking up his coin and giving to it on the 18th hole. And I think that Payne Stewart did something similar to Colin Montgomery at Brookline in '97. So really interesting to sportsmanship. I'm afraid that we've gone over I don't think there's going to be any picking up point this time, but I think it's going to be very hotly contested. I think if I'm, and a lot of the talk ahead of time was whether Keegan was going to pick himself as a as a
Right.
pick. He'd been playing great, and that's been settled a few weeks ago here in Frisco, where he announced he was not picking himself. But I think that you've got to think Scotty's going to be raring to go. I talked to his coach, Randy Smith, for close to 20 minutes yesterday, and he gave me a lot of insight on how Scotty prepares. So I think he obviously will be ready to go. I think Bryson will be ready to go. Bryson thrives in big conditions. But then after that, you've got to ask yourself, who is really ready to thrive on the big stage? Is it Ben Griffin, who missed a 3-foot putt last week at Napa
Exactly. Yeah.
that would have tied the match with Scotty? Is it Colin Morikawa, who's fired 3 caddies this year because he can't play? I mean, so you got to ask yourself, who in America is really primed to play after Scotty and after Bryson? And then the same thing on the European side. Obviously, Rory will be ready to go. Rory is the clear elder statesman, and if Scotty hadn't had as incredible year as he had, Rory would have been Player of the Year this year for what he did at the Masters, completing the career Grand Slam, winning Ireland. So Rory will be ready to go. I think John Rahm certainly thrives on a big stage like this. He'll be ready. But then after that, you've got to say who really is primed in Europe to do well. Ludwig Arberg, who actually went to Texas Tech here, it's been kind of an enigma. He's got a lot of great advanced publicity. Won at Torrey this year in January, I believe it was, in San Diego, but hadn't really done anything since then. So, boy, who's going to get hot at the right time? You may have seen on the DP World Tour, the winner was an assistant captain from Europe, not even playing on the team.
I know.
So
I like
it. Very interesting.
Did you hear the? I don't know exactly, but I can give you the essence of it. Justin Rose's comment about the difference between the Ryder Cup team, Europeans, and the Americans, what they call camaraderie.
Yeah. I think
because I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead because you.
Oh, basically, I was just this morning again giving credit to the Golf Channel and early in the morning, but they were saying that Justin Rose was trying to define the difference between the Europeans and the Americans. Yes, the Americans are buddies. They travel together. They make a lot of money. They are friends. But there is this ribbon of ethic on the European team that is their blood going back to the Sandy Lyle, the Seve, the Faldo, Ballester, or going back to
Sergio Garcia.
Sergio is what I was trying to come up with. But going back to their ethic is just different. And when he said that, you'd think that's going to be controversial, but it really isn't when you think about it. I don't know. I sort of tend to agree with him.
Well, I think it's in their blood, and now, I would say, you look at it, 10 of the 12 guys on the European team play in America almost exclusively.
Right.
Rory certainly does, and some of these, but I think that it goes back to when they were the underdogs. Every year they didn't have very little money. There was no money on the European tour. Seve had to kind of show them the way. And so I think it's certainly more important. It's in their DNA. I think, Jackie Burke, who was an assistant captain to Hal Sutton at Oakland Hills when Hal was there, 2014. He had the great line. He said, Europeans came in one jet, left in one jet. Our guys came in 12 jets, left in 12 jets. And, I think it's encouraging that they all played last week at Napa, all except for Xander, whose wife had the discourtesy of having a baby that week.
Dang it.
So I think that's a good sign. They all played there. They had a meeting. Bryson was there, even though he couldn't play in the event. He was there for the team meeting. So, but it's just more important to them. And you can't, I don't think, Randy, you can't say this is important, make this important. It is important or it's not.
Yeah.
And to the level, it's obviously important to these guys. Scotty wants to cap a year, but the level of importance to the Europeans is always going to be bigger because they always view themselves as the underdog, especially coming to America. I haven't won in American since 2014, the Miracle at Medina, where they came back on the final day and won. And Rory said himself, he said, one of the greatest marks of a European players to win a Road Ryder Cup. And that's what we're trying to do. And you look at it as that Rory has done a lot in his career, pretty much everything, career Grand Slam and won all of them. But to win a Road Ryder Cup, which is something he's never done, and that's why, not to get ahead of ourselves, but that's why most people speculate, and I think correctly so, that Tiger Woods will be the U.S. captain in 2 years when we go to Ireland, because that would be the one thing Tiger Woods has never done. He has never won a Road Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
So, I think it's very interesting, but the DNA of the European team is different. Can we overcome that? I think we can. Obviously, the crowd will be on our side, but who's making the clutch putts? And that didn't fill me with a lot of confidence that Ben Griffin whiffs from 3 feet on Sunday when he has a chance to tie Scotty there.
Did you see that little clip of? And I love Scotty. I mean, who can't? I mean, a great family. Father of Bennett now is, official signer of autographs on the table for Scotty, and but funny clip. But anyway. Scotty goes up to Ben and he congratulates him, nice job, so forth and so on. And you almost as a pro, you go like, I'm not sure that would be his response. Thank you very much for allowing me to finish second. It's just so hard. But you have to remember also, I claim that the start, well, not that he needed because he won everything from his whole career. But what really made Scotty Scheffler is when he took down John Rahm in Wisconsin.
Yeah, and he was up. People don't realize he won the first 4 holes. I mean, I think the match was 4-3, but Scotty won the first 4 holes. He's up 4-0. And before he even get to the midway turn, and I asked Scotty afterwards, I said, Did Rahm say anything to you when you went up 4-0? And Scotty goes, I don't think he was very happy about that.
Well, it's going to be interesting. And like the one thing everybody has sort of said, if the U.S. team gets down, do they lose the favor of the crowd? I mean,
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, Rory's got, you take a look at Rory and you talk about scar tissue in a career. He developed about 4 layers of it on 13 this year on Sunday. I mean, there's no more scar tissue. Then I leapt out of my chair and I go, are you kidding me? I could have hit that shot. And if everybody doesn't know, it was what, an 80-yard wedge that he knocked in the creek or something.
Yeah. He came back. But I think the fans, I mean, that's a great point, especially up in the Northeast. I mean, Philadelphia, New York. I mean, not to switch sports on you here, but, Arch Manning came in as the savior for Texas this year to start the football season. And he was like 1 of 10 in the first half last week in the Texas game, and the fans were booing him at halftime. And, those are the nice Texas people. So if that happens, I can promise you, if we get down 4-0, 3-1, the Boo Birds will be out at Bethpage. You can count on that.
That's like how I always said, it's going to be like how they train cats. You put a little ammonia and a little water and a squirt gun, and America gets down, they're going to get, a stinky reception. That's just, I mean, I can't wait to do our live updates next week because you're going to be feet in the ground. And you're going to get these stories and, I'm going to be watching from afar. As I said, I got this virtual hub, and when it's at the end of the day to get the Art Stricklin recap, the insights, everybody loves Art. And also, Art, we got to talk about, I'm known as Grampy Donuts, but you were at a PR, I mean, the esteemed announcement of the team down in Texas. And I got to ask you this question. Is that I'm listening to it and, questions being asked, and Art comes on, and other friends that I have, but Art comes on and he had a great question that he asked, so forth and so on. Then he wanted to follow up. And I thought I heard him say, hey, go back and have another donut. Did I misunderstand that comment? What was that all about?
Yeah, I asked the guy, I didn't quite understand. He said, I should have said, we've got more barbecue in the back. I think he said we've got more donuts in the back. But yeah, it's you just got to deal with all shapes and sizes. But yeah, So let me ask you, Randy, because I think we may have talked about this, man. Were you surprised Keegan didn't pick himself?
No, I thought it was honestly, I thought it was absolutely the right thing to do. I was just personally, obviously, I was just sort of relieved. I think it's the right thing to do. I think it just cleared the table. It felt good, and he's had a great year. You can't deny that. But I think it just cleared that cloud. I don't know how you win that. I mean, you win. Yeah, winning is everything. But if you go in there and you got that very unique, once in a lifetime. How do you handle this? It's been addressed all year, not addressed all year. Nobody knows all year. Let's just set it aside. And he picks up Sam Burns for Keegan Bradley. I don't think it was a bad trade, honestly.
Yeah, I think, and and I think, and other people have said this, and I totally agree that if he was not the captain, if somebody else is the captain, he's a
Right.
clear pick on the team. I would have made it without a doubt. But the fact, like you said, he is a captain, and there's just so much pressure because, just imagine if he's playing in the first match and it's like we get beat 4-3, and Keegan's, in the first match we get beat 4-3. They're like, oh, sure,
Yeah.
great, yeah. If he had been captain instead of playing, I don't think captain does a whole lot, but just the fact that his focus would be on playing, not on captaining, I think would be really tough. So, I talked to Lee Trevino, talked to Lanny Watkins, talked to Hal Sutton, Corey Pavin, all friends of mine, all there. They said every one of them said he made the right choice. He
Yeah,
said there's no way he could have picked himself.
yeah, and then the speculation before that happened is, Keegan should go the way be the first guy to hit the first shot off the first tee. Can you imagine not only the pressure for the first guy hitting the first shot off the first tee, but now you're the captain, playing captain. They want you to go do that. There's no way. I mean, I don't. I mean, and again, I don't think a lot of people and the youngsters give him a little history. I always love that part. But he has a famous aunt, right? Pat Bradley. I mean, he has golf in his blood. This is not. He's not his first barbecue, and
No, he's down. And Keegan hadn't confided in me, but I'm going to make a prediction. I think sure to go right. I think that Bryson DeChambeau hits the first shot on Friday morning.
I think you got to go with it.
I really do. I think he'll try to drive the green or get the fans into a fever pitch. And, one thing that's different now, and this like I think analytics is a huge part of it. And I'm sure that Keegan already has his lineup for Friday morning.
Yeah.
He already knows exactly who's playing with who. And I probably shared it with those guys at Napa last week. And so I really think that maybe Bryson goes first and plays with Russell Henley or Sam Burns, who can put the lights out because, alternate shot, which is foursomes is by another term, alternate shot is you got to have a driver, you got to have a putter. And so that's why I really think that you're going to see Russell Henley and Bryson. I mean, Bryson can grab the green. He did that at Kohler. I don't know if you saw Rory, drive the green last. He was there for a practice round this week and drove the green. So really think Bryson will be out there, Russell Henley, and that's who I'm predicting hits the first shot. I think probably Scotty goes with the thing. Randy Smith told me an interesting thing. He said, these guys are so good that they can play with anybody, but he said, there's certain guys that are better with other certain guys, and it's all analytics and everything. So I think that they plotted it out, who's best with who goes with who, and they've already got it figured out. They'll make the announcement Thursday at the opening ceremonies, but that decision has already been made. And I think they're just waiting to, showcase it to the public.
So if the Europeans would not, I mean, it'd be sort of a surprise if they just didn't throw out the same people that they put out, the last Ryder Cup. I mean, could you imagine any changes? The only guy is a new twin in that 12th spot, and you're not even sure who's playing anyway. I think those guys go both warm up. I think their brothers are on the same team, but I mean, if they go with the same groupings that they had, you'd almost assume that's going to be the case,
Well, why wouldn't you? It was
Yeah.
very successful. I think they got off to a 4-0 start in Rome, if I can remember correctly.
They did. And
so
there
why wouldn't you do that again?
Wasn't enough pizza in the evening for the Americans to eat to take away that pain, because it is awful.
Oh, well, I'm excited, Randy, and I'm going to start packing now and get ready, but I look forward to being with you live from the Ryder Cup.
Live from the Ryder Cup with the one, the only, the dusty one, Art Stricklin. And again, go to The Art of Golf Travel. Sign up for those. As we've always told you, he's going to be in our magazine coming out in, it's going to be November, early December. He has a lot of articles, but we always talk about his trips. You always can find his trips and his pictures from his trips. I got pictures. I did pull some off the internet of what Sand Valley looked like. And it has a little sand in it. Strangely, it's weird.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, but anyway, Art, thank you very much. Can't wait till next week. Travel safe. When do you leave? When are you going? When are you heading out?
I'll be up there. I'll be up there for the opening ceremony. So I'll be up there for the opening ceremony. Junior Ryder Cup. We've got a local player, guy from Frisco here in Dallas to come play in the Junior Ryder Cup. So I'm going up for that, and then big boys get going on Friday, and be interesting to see. Like I said, I predict Bryson hits the first shot, so we'll see if that's correct. But it's going to be fun, and I don't think it'll be a blowout. I'm going to wait till next week to give you a prediction, because I want to get on the ground and feel kind of the vibe. But I am predicting there will not be a blowout for either the Americans or the European team.
I hope it just comes right down. I think it'd be so captivating. I think it's about 4 or 5 o'clock Sunday, a week from this coming Sunday.
Yeah, about 5 o'clock. Yeah,
about that last putt, and I hope that the right person has the right. Right, I don't care. It's just such a great sport. It brings people like you to have the leadership, to have everybody. You show them such a great time all over the world, and I really appreciate you, Art, and I know all the people doing your trips. Anyway, for Art Stricklin, this is old Uncle Randy. This is Golfers, Golf, and Travel. And once again, join us next week. Every day coming to you live from the Ryder Cup. Isn't that fun to say? It's going to be good. All right.
I'll see you next week, Randy.
All righty. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
It ain't about pushing or shouting the loudest. It's the soft-spoken questions that open up hearts. Kindness don't cost you a nickel, but it'll buy